What's up, YouTube? I'm Max. This is my affirmation video to my affirmation journal of a book I've been copying called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This is just one take. This is my affirmations. I'm just repeating everything that I've written here in my YouTube highlight. And this is addiction and a search for wholeness. You see all my other videos are the same thing. I just repeat the same process every night. Why should we become addicted to another person? The reason why a romantic love relationship is such an intense and universally sought after experience is that seems to offer liberation from a deep-seated state of fear, need, lack, or incompleteness that is part of the human condition. In its unredeemed and unenlightened state, there is a physical as well as a psychological dimension at this state. On this physical level, you're obviously not whole or nor willing ever will be. You are either a man or woman, which is to say one half of the whole, and the other level of the longing for wholeness is a return to oneness and manifests as a man or female attraction. Man's need for a woman, woman's need for a man. It is almost an irresistible urge for the union, for the opposite of polarity, and the root that is physical urge is a spiritual one, that is longing for the end in duality. A return to the state of wholeness, sexual union is the closest you can get to the state on the physical level. This is why this is the most deeply satisfying experience the physical realm can offer. But sexual union is no more than a fleeting glimpse of wholeness, an instant understanding of bliss. As long as unconscious sought as means salvation, you are seeking the end of duality on the level of form which cannot be found. You are giving a tantalizing glimpse of heaven, but you are not allowed to dwell there, and you find yourself again as a separate body and psychological level. The sense of lack and incompleteness is anything greater on the physical level as long as you are identified with your mind. You have an externally derived sense of self, that is to say, you get your sense of self from these things that are ultimately nothing who you are. Your social role, possessions, eternal, external appearances, successes and failures, belief systems, and so on. This is false mind-made self. The ego feels vulnerable, insecure, and always seeking new things to identify with, to give it a feeling that it exists, but nothing is ever enough to give it a lasting fulfillment. If that fear remains, it is a sense of lack and neediness, and that also remains. But then a special relationship comes along. It seems that the answer is all the ego's problems. And all it seems, at least, is how it appears at first. All the other things that you derived your sense of self from before now becomes relatively insignificant. You now have a single focal point that replaces them all, that gives a meaning to your life and through which you define your identity. The person you are in love with are no longer disconnected in the fragmented and uncaring universe, or so it seems. Your world now has the center of the loved one. The fact that the center is outside of you and therefore is still in an external derived sense does not mean to the matter of the first, but the matter is that the underlying feelings of incompleteness, of fear, lack, and unfulfillment so characteristic of the ego state are no longer there, or are they? Have they dissolved, or have they continued to exist underneath this happy surface reality? If you're in a relationship, you experience both love and the opposite of love, attack, emotional violence, and so on, then it is likely that you are confusing ego attachment and addicted clinging with love. You cannot love your partner one moment and attack him next. True love has no opposite. If your love has no opposite, then it's not love. A strong ego for a more complete and deeper sense of self. A need for that other person is temporarily met. It is the ego's substitute for salvation, and for a short time it almost does not feel like, it does feel like salvation, but there comes a point when your particular behaviors and which ways to fail to meet your needs, or rather of those of the ego, the feelings of fear, pain, lack, and that are intrinsic part of the ego's consciousness, but have been covered up by the love relationships that now resurface. Just as with every other addiction, you are now on a high with the drug is available, and it invariably, and the time drug no longer works for you. When those painful feelings reappear, you feel them even more strongly than before, and what is more, you now perceive your partner as the cause of those feelings. This means that you projected them outward in an attack of the other, and the savage violence as part of your pain. This attack may be awakened in your partner's own pain, and he or she may encounter your attack. At this point, the ego is still unconsciously hoping that this attack or attempts of manipulation will be sufficient punishment to induce into the partner to change your behavior, so that you can use them again to cover up for your own pain. Every addiction arises from unconscious refusal to face and move through your own pain. Every addiction starts with the pain and ends with pain. Whatever substance you're addicted to, alcohol, food, legal or illegal drugs, or a person, you are using something or somebody to cover up your pain. That is why. After the initial euphoria has passed, this is so much pain, unhappiness, so much pain, intimate relationships you do not cause pain and unhappiness, they bring about pain and unhappiness that is already in you. Every addiction does that. Every addiction reaches a point where it does not work for you anymore, and then you feel the pain more intensely than ever. This is one reason why most people always try to escape from the present moment or are seeking some kind of salvation in the future. The first thing that they might encounter if they focus their attention on the now is of their own pain. And this is what they fear. If they only knew how easy it was to access it, and then the new power of the now and the presence that dissolves the past and it is pain, the reality that dissolves the illusion. If they only knew how to close their own reality worlds and how to be close to God and the avoidance of relationships in an attempt to avoid pain is not the answer either. The pain is there anyway. Failed relationships in as many years are more likely to force you into an awakening from 3 years on a desert island or shut you away in a room. But if you could bring the intense presence into your aloneness, that would work for you too. And that's The Addiction and the Search for Wholeness by Eckhart Tolle in the book The Power of Now. It's my affirmation video to my affirmation journal. I'm Max. Thanks for listening, and I'm out.